Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ifeoluwa. In this video, I'm going to show you how to cut and sew a perfect turtleneck. Now, if you're looking to take gaping away from your turtleneck, that is around the sides, you'll see some turtlenecks that will be having spaces around the sides or at the back or at the front. So I'm going to show you how to eliminate that with this video. If this is something you're interested in learning how to cut and sew, please stick around and watch this video to the end. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you're seeing this, please do also subscribe, give my video a thumbs up, and also feel free to leave your questions and your comments in the comment section. Thank you very much guys. Now let's get started. So here I already cut out my top, that is the front and the back pattern, and then my sleeves. So I had to use a pattern paper for the front and the back to draft the front and the back because of the nature of the net. It is very stretchy, so I had to use my pattern paper. So what I'm just going to do now is to join everything, the shoulders, the sleeves, and then the sides, so that we can come to work on the turtleneck. So this is what I have after joining the shoulders, the sides, the sleeves, and sewing the hemline. Now it is time to work on the turtleneck. So what I'm going to do is to join the neckline together like this, starting from the back. So I'm going to be having a zip for this my turtleneck, so the zip is going to be reaching the upper part, so which means I'll be taking the measurements from where I have my zip for the back part of this top. So starting from this, I'm just going to fold this neckline to be equal so that I can measure out what I have on both the back and the front. So this is what I have after joining and arranging the neckline together. So this is the zip area, and then you make sure that the shoulders there are also joined together so you won't have any miscalculation when measuring out the neckline. So I'm going to start measuring from this part here, which is the zip allowance part, and then I'll be measuring it on the 0.5 inch that I'll be sewing the clothes from, that I'll be joining the pieces from. So I'm measuring the back first of all, and I have 4.75 for the back. Then I'm going to start from that point again, that is the shoulder, and then I'll also measure out the front neckline. So for the front I have 5.25. so I got a tiny piece of paper that will be enough for me to draft the neckline on, and then I'm creating a straight line here so that I can know, because the paper is not straight, so I'm creating a straight line here just to balance up the straightness of the paper. Now I'm going to measure out all I have on my paper and mark out the midpoint. So before doing this, you would have made sure that the length that you have for your paper is enough for your neckline. So I have 12 inches altogether for my paper, and then I have marked the midpoint. Then I'm going to measure out what I have for my front neckline. So I measured out 5.25 for my front neckline. I'm going to label this one as my front. So don't worry, I'm still going to use my marker to highlight everything back. So I'm just using my pencil for now. Then I'm going to measure out my back. For my back, I measured out about 4.75. So I'm going to mark that from the midpoint, and then I'm going to label this part as the back. Now I'm going to come up by ½ inch from this point of my front neckline. So I'll come up by ½ inch there, and then I'll use my curve to connect it back to the midpoint. So doing this is going to give the turtleneck line a curvy shape, because the neckline normally it is not a straight neckline, it is curvy. So doing this is going to give it that curvy shape, and then it's going to we are going to try to avoid the gaping. So starting from this point now, I'm going to measure out the length of my turtleneck. So I'm using 1.25 as mine. You can go lesser than that or you can go more than that. It depends on what you want. And then I'm going to connect that. I'm going to make my ruler a little bit slanted, not straight. So I'm going to slant it like this, and then I'll connect straight up. So this way too, we are also preventing gaping from the turtleneck. Now I'm going to mark out the length on the rest of the lines that I have. So I'm using 1.25. I'll mark it up to the back neckline. Now after marking the length like so, I'm going to connect everything together. I'm going to draw a straight line from this one here, that is the back neckline. So the points that we marked for the back neckline, so I'm just going to draw a straight line there, and then I'll connect the rest together. Now one thing you should note for this neckline to also avoid gaping is that you should make sure your neckline is not too wide. When you are cutting it on your fabric, you should make sure it is not too wide. If it is too wide, then there's a chance that even after you draft your neckline, your total neckline like this, you will still have gaping there. So you make sure that the neckline is not too wide. Now this part is the center front, which is going to be on fold, and this is the center back, which is not going to be on fold because of the zip allowance that I already have there. So I'm going to use my marker to highlight everything again. So starting from the line that I drew out, that is the straight line that I drew out. Then after drawing out the straight line, I looked for the midpoint of the paper, and then I marked out the midpoint. From that midpoint, I marked out my front, neckline, and then I also marked out my back neckline. So I labeled this the front and then the back. So I came up by ½ inch from the front neckline, and then I used my cuff to connect it into the midpoint. So after doing that, I measured out the length of my turtleneck, which is 1.25, and then I created like a slant line to meet that point, and then I measured out the length of the rest. So I joined everything together, and then I made a straight line on the back area. So guys, this is all I have for the collar. Then I'm going to go ahead to cut out what I have, then I'll cut it out on my fabric. So you make sure that this part is cut out on fold when cutting out on the fabric. So guys, this is what I have after cutting out on my fabric. I cut out 2 pieces for this turtleneck, and then the midpoint is on fold as I have already said, and I added ½ inch up and ½ inch down. So I'm going to separate them this way and join them together. So you make sure that the right sides are facing each other. So I've joined them together like this, and then I'll sew the upper part using the 0.5 inch I added as the allowance. So I'll sew the upper part that way. Make sure that the right sides are facing each other. So this is what I have after sewing the right sides together. You make sure that you iron this very well, and make sure that you're not ironing directly on the fabric. So I'm going to fold them together like this and look for the midpoint, because I want to join the turtleneck now to the neckline of the top that I already made. So I looked for the midpoint and then I notched it. Then I'm going to look for the midpoint of the top too, that is on the neckline area, and then I'll notch out that part. So now I'm going to be joining this turtleneck to the neckline of the top. So I'm going to look for the midpoint. You make sure that the right side of this turtleneck is what is going to be joined to the wrong side of the top. So the right side, we already have 2 pieces for this neckline, so I'll be taking just one out of the pieces, and then you make sure that it is the right side. The right side of the turtleneck is facing the wrong side of the top. So this way you're not going to have any rough edges by the time you are done sewing. So just watch what I'm doing carefully. So the right side of the turtleneck is facing the wrong side of the top. So I'm going to pin that down, and then I also go to the end of the top and pin it. That is the zip area, so that I'm going to have something equal at the end of the day. I'm going to pin that and also do the same thing for the other side. So after pinning everything down together, I'm going to go ahead to sew that using 0.5 inch allowance. So guys, this is what I have after sewing. So you can see that I sewed only one part of the neckline, only one part of the turtle neckline to the neckline of the dress. So this is the other part now. This other part is going to be covering the first part that we already sewed. So this is what I'll be doing. I'm going to take that side that we haven't sewn to the cloth yet, and I'll fold it using 0.5 inch. So that is the allowance left, and then I'll use it to cover up this one like this, and I'll pin it down. So I'm going to pin everything down like that. You make sure that the fabric that has been sewn is inside, it is not showing outside. So I'll pin everything down, and then I'll sew a little bit towards the edge there, a little bit. So this is what I have after sewing that. You can see how neat it looks like, both the outer part and the inner part. Now I'm going to go ahead to fix in my zip. So the zip is going to be covering the turtleneck too. And guys, this is it for this turtleneck top. So let me know if this was helpful in the comment section. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel before leaving, and also give this video a thumbs up so it can be visible to many more people. Thank you very much guys for watching. I'm going to see you in my next tutorial. Bye.